Maybe I'm crazy, but the Lakers are interested in signing Dwight Howard.
You not crazy, they are. We all are.
I'm not crazy.
It's crazy times.
That's a real story.
No, yeah, this is bad.
Oh.
Don't try to do that.
Oh, Dwight Howard.
Now you want the Lakers to be bad?
I don't know what I want the Lakers to be, but I know they keep giving me stories, so
we gotta talk about them.
Yes.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm not.
Welcome to the Maybe I'm Crazy podcast. I'm Joy Taylor, that's Brandon Newman.
Hola.
We are going to do a lot of NFL today.
Yes.
Will Blackmon is joining us. We're going to talk about some wine too, because he is working on becoming a sommelier.
Yes, by way of Charles Woodson, which is the only reason why it's valid in my opinion.
Why would it not be valid? Why else wouldn't it be valid?
I don't know, just Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson is as legit can be. He put him on the wine.
Okay.
I'm encouraging his career.
He is legit becoming a sommelier.
Yes.
NFL wine guy. We went to Napa this weekend. Earl took me on a trip to Napa, which was wonderful.
That?
It was amazing. It's heaven. It's heaven with a touch of Get Out.
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Just a dash.
Yes. Just because. Yeah, everyone's nodding and agreeing, and every time you say something that sounds a little bit real, they're like this. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a kind of a remote place.
Yes, which is scary for Black people.
Yes, like once
we've
been around one or two or three or four more turns in the road, you're kind of like
yes. So it's gonna be on you now.
How far did you say this place was? But it was amazing, and shout out to Eric who took us there, and the Staglin family. They're amazing. UCLA Bruins, and it was awesome. And we're going to talk about our top 5 most interesting NFL teams.
Yes.
Antonio Brown keeps getting compared to T.O. I disagree. As I mentioned, the Lakers that's a real story. Lakers are talking to Dwight Howard.
Again.
Which Dwight?
Without Steve Nash present.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a big chicken sandwich debate going on, which I don't understand what the debate is because the answer is very simple. We'll get to it later.
Okay.
The Cowboys are doing some things. They signed someone. Yay!
Yay!
It's not how you think it is.
Dang.
And big time culture report. So let's get started with Will Blackmon. Will Blackmon is joining us on the Maybe I'm Crazy podcast. Thank you for coming in.
She didn't even let her finish. I need my whole intro. Hey, what is this talk?
Hey, I'm a
Fonzie over here. Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's the Spliff Star? I'm Spliff Star to your Busta Rhymes.
Wow.
Oh, there you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
That's my hype, man.
Spliff Star.
Yes.
That's good.
What
Trying to get the Puff
reference.
Daddy level of hype, man.
Spliff is good.
Yes.
Spliff burn calories.
So we're going to talk a lot of NFL with you, but also you are a big wine guy.
Yeah, the
You are
NFL
the
wine.
wine guy. The NFL wine guy.
guy.
Yeah, it's on
wine
Twitter
guy.
and Instagram.
NFL wine guy.
Is it the NFL or is it NFL
Yes,
wine guy?
yeah.
It's
He is
NFL
NFL.
wine guy on Twitter, on Instagram, and NFLwineguy.com. It's real, baby.
You have a website too.
The
How
Yeah.
domain, though. Okay, let me stop hating. You
I
got
got
the
the
domain.
domain.
You have to do the
playing out here.
full
Yeah.
branding circuit. Do you have an email?
Yeah,
Okay,
Oh,
that's how we know it's
that
all
was a
complete.
question
Yeah.
mark. Yes, if I've ever heard one.
I got
Well-
a business card.
Oh, okay.
Settle down, everybody.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Well, my fiance and I went to Napa this weekend.
Yes.
Oh, this weekend?
Yes. So I've been one time before. It was his first trip. He went because of me.
How do you
because
like it?
He wasn't sure about it.
You had the hookup?
He had the hookup.
Earl
Shout out
had the
to
hookup.
Staglin Wines. Do
Oh,
you know
very
Staglin
cool.
Wines?
I know Stag Leap.
Yeah, Stag Leap is very good also. Well, they're UCLA family, and
Oh, there you go.
they were
Yeah.
amazing, and their wines
Done
are
deal.
excellent. We had an amazing time. I probably had a better time than Earl because
How did Earl like it?
He loved it. Napa is like a wine education.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's a cultural. It's not like.
Have you ever been wine tasting?
I went to Malibu Wines once, and I was very afraid. It was like Get Out. It was like that party at Get Out.
There is a touch of Get Out to the whole
Yes,
situation.
yes.
I will definitely admit that.
At Malibu Wines?
Yes,
Just
specifically.
Yeah, well, I haven't been to Malibu Wines, but I imagine it because just in general, like even being in Napa, it's a bit isolated from the culture.
Right.
It's its own
On
culture.
purpose.
On purpose. Yeah, it's its own culture. It's its own world.
True. Okay.
is
These are
its
good
own
answers
world.
out of the wine guy,
Which is
though.
kind of why it has a touch of Get Out, but it's a wonderful place. And
Yes.
I love it. I love it. But how did you get into wine? Because obviously I've been talking about wine for like the past 5 days. But how did you get into wine?
I got into it. It was acquired. I always consumed it and enjoyed it. And then when I got drafted to Green Bay in 2006, and in the same year, Charles Woodson signed his deal.
Okay.
And everyone knows Charles Woodson has his own winery on Route 29 in Napa. And he would always, the night before games, he would always take the defensive backs out. And we would go to a nice restaurant, he would order wine or have his own, and it just became just our thing. So, or we would just go out, he and I would go out during the day, lunch, have a glass of wine, dinner, have a glass of wine. We always just had a glass of wine. I just enjoyed it. So I was curious to know more. I said, I really want to understand it. And this guy, he's a director, now a good friend of mine. His name is Jason Wise, and he directed that documentary called Somm that's on Netflix. Yeah. Directed that, and I was like, man, there's way more to it. So one of the master sommeliers, he's in Costa Mesa in Orange County where I am, and he has a school there, and they have classes. So I went and got a level 2 WSET certification. I went, took the whole course and got certified, and I came here so bougie. I wore my pin.
Oh my
Lord, did I wear it? Yes.
He had it planned. Pre-produced it.
No, I thought
right under our noses.
I can't listen. I got everything. I got my pen in case they wanted my ring. I got my ring. I got everything here just in case. My wife yells at me. You got to bring everything. You never know.
That's smart, though.
So I learned I learned that with wine, it's the more you know about the region, it's all about geography.
True. Yes.
In terms of like what characteristics to look for, how certain things taste, why it tastes like that. Like a Pinot Noir from France is completely different than a Pinot Noir from California. Like I learned all that stuff. So I just continue to learn more and more and more. I'm studying under Guild Somms right now to maybe be an advanced Somm, and so it's I enjoy.
Are these wine words, the Somm stuff?
Sommelier.
It's
so when
short.
you go to a fancy restaurant and like you want to order it's a wine sensei in some senses.
Cool. Or sommelier.
Or that.
Oh, okay. All right, we're going to do that.
It sounds very bougie, but it's actually like once you get into it. So when you go to a restaurant, you want to order a bottle of wine, they bring you the big like Bible of wines. Yeah. And you have no idea where to go. That's the person that comes over and says, What are you having for dinner? Yeah. And like I think that they recommend a bottle of wine for you.
Yeah. And so they got sommeliers that work at these
decanter it.
They work at restaurants.
At the restaurant.
They work at restaurants. That's what they are.
Yes.
Do you want to be a sommelier for a specific restaurant?
Not for a restaurant, just for my own culture, whatever. I just want to know more.
All right.
It's not like whiskey has a kind of a bit of a culture like this too.
So I'm from Kentucky, I understand.
So I took it like beyond extreme measures where I'm probably close to being passionate about that as I am about like football. And football, I'm diehard. Like football, that's all. Football's all I wanted to do. So the wine thing, I became very serious. It's not just a hobby. It's not a hobby.
NFL wine guy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So we were talking about like how the like vines are grown and like the dirt and like how you harvest it, like whether it's organic or not. And I feel like just our whole culture in general, and like Tom Brady kind of leads the way with this, being that he's 42 years old and still dominating the NFL. And we were talking to Drew Brees earlier on the Herd. Like everyone is more body conscious in general, just in the world, but specifically in sports. And so if you are like, obviously guys go out and party, like we all party. Right. Is wine something you would recommend to drink? And it's kind of weird, like you're not gonna like drink wine in the club, but it low key might be better than drinking like tequila or vodka or whatever else that you're gonna be out. Like if you need to play that weekend, like it's better for your body.
Funny story.
Ooh, there you go.
Story time. So I told this before. In 2008. We traveled to Minnesota, so I'm still in Green Bay. And Charles takes us out the night before to, I think the restaurant is called Seven in Minneapolis.
The night before a game?
Night before a game. Okay. It was rich, we always went out and go to dinner. So we're at the restaurant and we have, great food and order wine. And he's ordering more wine. And he's ordering more wine. And then we order more wine. And then we hear music. We're like, what's that upstairs? Like, oh, it's like a little nightclub. Not kind of like a nightclub, like a lounge area. So we had time before meeting, so we went upstairs. We had more wine. So then the nights, I remember too, we saw Joe Buck and Troy Aikman because they were calling the game. Yeah. We saw them. And then we get back to the hotel just in time for meetings. And I just remember, I was like, damn, dude, like I don't feel good right now. And I was looking, it was me, Charles Woodson, Tremont Williams, and Nick Collins was the four of us. And we all went out. And I just remember all of us were just like, damn, dude, maybe we kind of like overdid it. So then we get the next day to get ready for the game. I just remember looking in the mirror. My eyes were glossy. I was like, damn, I really kind of got smashed the day before the game.
Right.
Like, damn. So I'm like, well, let me try to hydrate and get going. Adrenaline kicks in, and, we can play under any circumstance. I had my best game with like 2 hours of sleep. Anyhow, so the game gets going. Right away, Charles Woodson gets a pick. Boom. And I'm like, well, that's Charles. Like, of course he's going to get a pick.
Right.
And then Tremont got an interception. Boom. He got a pick. And then I'm like, well, Tremont's doing well right now. He's like on the rise. And then Nick Collins gets a pick 6. And I'm like,
I remember this game.
I'm like, damn.
You do, yeah.
I was like, well, I got to do something. So then, boom, I take a punt return to the house for a touchdown.
Yes.
So all 4 of us went off that game. so ever since then, I didn't get destroyed, but I had some wine the night before a game.
That's good luck. Now, question: who was the quarterback you were playing in that game?
Gus Farrar. They won.
Oh. Okay.
They won, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
We missed a field goal. Yeah.
So it sounds like a great game, but yeah. So that kind of answers my question. Like, it's not now. Had you drank like that and it was tequila, you may have.
That wouldn't have
Sucks going off and the team losing. I had my one interception against Kent State at Ball State, and we lost the game, and I left the ball there to be like a good morale guy. I should have kept that damn ball.
Why did you leave the ball?
Dude, don't remind me. So I remember I stripped Edelman, and I usually keep all my footballs, and that one I did not keep. It's a Brady ball.
Yes, and the Edelman ball on top of that.
I'm gonna be real, the ball's a little light.
Tell him. Let's switch into football, but I would say shouts out to Senior Sangria.
It was a little nerf.
Yeah. When I was in New Jersey and New York working there, I sold Sangria around New Jersey, pulled up, and they are now in Yankee Stadium. So Senior Sangria, shouts out to Rick from Maplewood, New Jersey. You know what I mean? Go pick it up if you're at the Yankees game.
What was your question?
It was a shout out instead of a question.
You just wanted to get that in. Okay.
It was a shout out.
Let's transition to the NFL. So basically, the Browns are everywhere right now. Antonio Brown and the Browns are the main stories for the past 2 weeks. And let's start with Baker. So we're big Baker supporters around here. I thought Baker should have started right from the jump. I thought he overcame a really dysfunctional situation with Hugh Jackson.
Massive.
Yeah, so he's been able to do.
He won a city over after LeBron left.
Yes.
Just let that sit in.
Please.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay.
All right, go ahead, sorry.
So I don't have a problem with his persona, his personality, his arrogance, if you will. Like, everything that he is, I think is great for the league. I think stars with personality just only elevate the game. Like, everybody doesn't have to be the same. Everybody doesn't have to be Brady. Everybody doesn't have to be Russell Wilson. Like, you can have your own personality, and I think that's great. I do think you get into a little bit of sticky territory when you call out somebody who's not only in the league, but is playing your position.
And not even talking about you.
Not talking about you, and is younger than you. Like, I think there's a lot of elements in play here. Now, so what I'm talking about is there's a GQ article done on Baker, and
GQ's been coming in hot though lately.
Fire.
Yes. A lot of sports content.
Like, what are they doing? What are they? Tequila on set? What's up?
I don't know.
Gosh.
I feel that.
Yeah, they're bringing it though. And in the article, he mentions that he can't believe that the Giants took Daniel Jones. It just feels like cheap. Now, he's come out and said he didn't mean it like that, and he respects Daniel Jones.
Because he didn't mean it like that.
Thank you.
Maybe he didn't. He
definitely didn't.
Of course not. He's throwing shots at the Giants.
No, he's not throwing shots at anyone. He's basically spoke his mind of what everyone else thought too.
True.
They probably asked him, "What did you think?" He said, "I was like, man, I can't believe they took him at number 6."
He wasn't asked it though. He just kind of volunteered.
He wasn't asked it.
Yeah, like he claims they were talking about like quarterback evaluation, and he threw it out there. But here's my point to Baker and this whole thing. And I know I'm kind of speaking out of both sides of my mouth with this, but I do think there's a balance that you have to walk with branding. Like, you got to understand, if you're just going to speak your mind and not be cookie cutter and be out there the way that Baker claims he wants to be, sometimes you're going to be criticized for what you say. Like, don't back off of it now.
Because that's why I think he backed off, because it didn't come out like that.
Right. He backed off because it was misunderstood.
He didn't mean for it to be like this kid. Like, he has no reason to say anything about Daniel Jones. He just honestly said what everyone thought, except me. I didn't think it was a bad pick.
Okay.
I didn't.
He's putting his name on that.
I'm just saying.
That's my thing, and that's why I didn't like about Colin's rant today, is that we can't criticize someone for being consistently authentic.
But look who he's criticizing. That's his boy.
I mean,
True,
no, I
but
think you can, because this is the point. I'm a big Baker supporter. I don't have a problem with anything he does. I don't love him chugging a beer during training camp. If it was any other time of the year, I'm cool with it. I just don't think that
on camera, or
it didn't bother me. Like, it doesn't trigger. Those things don't trigger me.
You
I
need
see
to drink during training camp. It is stressful.
Amen. So it's just like
I'm sure
drinking
it is,
on camera is the bad thing. What? We
Yes,
can't have a beer.
Of course.
Raiders got training camp in
You
Napa.
can have a beer. Yeah, they do. I'm just saying, there's optics to everything.
Right.
Like, you can be a rebel and be aware that all of this whole machine is still operating and is gonna, like, don't be mad about the machine covering you, but then when the machine says something negative, you're mad too. Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Right.
That's not how it works. So you can't always just be mad. Like, they did an article, a very extensive article about you. How people receive what you said is because you said it. Now, maybe you felt like it was taken out of context. That's part of your reputation, that you say what you feel, right? So did we really take it out of context? Or
Yeah, if he says you did.
So are you authentic or are you not authentic?
It's because we took it out of context because of how he's been.
Right.
To your point.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why it's hard for people to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Where in this case, he probably definitely was. I believe 100% he was taken out of context because of his behavior and how he is and how people see him as really brash, upfront,
right,
in your face. They're like, okay, he definitely took a shot.
And
at
he's
him.
called other people out. He's called out
right,
Hugh Jackson.
the Duke Johnson
He's called
one.
out Duke Johnson.
But even that, I didn't feel as calling it out as much as him being an everyman and a leader at the same time. He has a very hard job to do and a very hard line to tote of being someone who can hang out with the DBs, the offensive lineman, the quarterback, and be in the quarterback room, and then also being asked, and he's a part of the culture now. So, like, I didn't even take that Duke Johnson as venom. He's like, if you don't want to be on this team, you need to get off this team.
But that's what I'm saying. But you can't say that right then and there. You especially in this league, like, it's hard. We already have issues with our collective bargaining agreement, so it's like, he got to handle what he has to have. We're going to continue to build for the future what we're doing with this team. He has to handle his business as opposed to, like, either he's in or out. That's kind of weak, I thought, in that case. And same thing, like, just going after Hugh, and Hugh didn't say anything.
We can't criticize Russell Wilson for not being interested and then criticize Baker for being interesting.
No. I'm not criticizing him for being interesting. I'm saying that there are lines that you have to be aware of. Like, to me, I feel like him saying anything, like, if you're on the record, this is what I'm saying. If you're on the record, this is almost like a lesson. Not that I'm sunning him or anything, but, like, this is my business.
Yeah.
I know how this works.
Wow.
Yeah,
But look, like, it's a lesson, right? Like,
I haven't heard it in a while because I've been out here for so long, and they don't get it out here.
That's
What,
true.
son?
Like sunning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kick rocks.
This is the lesson. When you're on the record, you're on the record. If you're in the room with a reporter and they're doing a story on you, you got to be at the height of your senses of what you're saying. And sometimes when you're too authentic, like, it's going to come out that way. But then if that's just who you are, then you got to own it. Like, you can't be like, well, I want you to believe this about me, but then I'm not authentic. I didn't really mean it like that. Like, it's too much of a balance. And this is where he's going to get in trouble because he's a quarterback.
He can get in trouble, and he can do both, too, because we have Hall of Fame quarterbacks that have done the same thing. You talked about Brett Favre on the Herd today.
Right.
Somebody who spoke his mind and essentially has a lot of parallels to Baker.
Here's what I love Baker is that at the end of the day, none of this bothers him.
Facts. Beautiful. Yeah, he's all about football. And that's why.
I think it does. It's all over his Instagram today.
I don't think it could be all over his Instagram. That's fine. Like, he'll say what he wants, but it's not going to bother him when he's playing football.
No.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
I think personally, it does.
That's true.
If it didn't, he wouldn't have said anything. I don't think it's going to affect him playing football at all. That said, what do you think of the Browns this year? Because they're going to be noisy no matter what, which I love. Please, more content.
On paper, they're fantastic. My only question with that team is the culture. You know, who is legit, like, the leaders? You know, there's a lot of big personalities in there. Who are the legit leaders? And say they face some adversity. What's going to happen when they face adversity? What's going to happen? Say they drop 3 games. You know,
right? They fall apart.
Say they drop 3 games in a row. What's going to happen? Are they going to find a way to come together and figure out, or, you know, is Odell going to speak up, or is Jarvis going to speak up, or Baker's going to say something? So I'm curious to see what happens when they face adversity, because if things are rolling well, they're going to do awesome. But what happens when that? Because, I mean, the North ain't easy right now.
No, I mean, the Steelers are the Steelers. I think they're going to come back with a renewed sense of culture, because I think, speaking to culture, they had a culture breakdown last year, and while they lost an incredible amount of talent,
they were a way better team than their record showed. The Steelers. To my point, the culture.
Cincinnati's in, but you know the Ravens are going to win some games this year.
Definitely are.
Okay, so you're high on the Ravens. I'm very skeptical of the Ravens right now.
Offensively, is that what it is?
You just.
I'm not.
Thank you.
I'm not.
You gonna tell why? Would you care to share?
If you're going to talk about Louisville, then I don't want to hear it. But
I am not a Louisville Cardinals fan. Never was.
Well, let me start defensively.
Okay.
I love the fact that the chess move that they made. The Browns signed Odell, and then you just go, I'm gonna get Earl, straight up. You know, they lose Suggs, and they draft that rookie who broke his sack record. You lose Crabtree, you get Boykin from
Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm. You get Hollywood Brown to replace John Brown,
and the good Antonio Brown,
and you bring in Mark Ingram, and then one of the bright spots I see in this preseason was the running back, Justice Hill. Is that his name? Yes. He's going to be awesome. And I think just right now I feel like Lamar found himself in terms of like just go win games, go play ball. People like I posted him doing that hurdle on Twitter, and everyone was like, "Well, he can't throw." I'm like, "Why do you worry about that?"
Well, I worry about that because
he can throw though.
It's not that I don't think he can throw.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to design their offense around not only allowing him to do that, but developing that. Because I don't look at when it comes to young players as like, what do you do in the first year you're in the league? Like, if you're great, awesome. But I don't have those expectations of rookie quarterbacks. I think it takes time to develop. And once you're into like your third or fourth year, it's hard to unlearn bad habits, or B, develop new skills. Like there's not a big range for that. So that's why like Josh Rosen, I think, is in a shit situation. Like he went into a bad situation.
Oh, we're swearing on this thing?
Yeah, you free to.
Yeah.
You free to.
I'm not trying to. I was just making sure I wasn't.
Yeah. You can
Damn,
have a
Joey,
couple
Jay
glasses of wine and just let one slip out.
Just let it go.
He can slip like one or two.
Yeah.
He was in a shit situation, and now he's in a shittier situation in Miami. So, like it's gonna be hard for him.
Easy, okay. One of my teammates from college, Brian Flores, took over the team.
I like Brian Flores. I'm a lifelong Dolphins fan, but I don't like what they're. Fine, let's talk about this. So I don't like what they're doing with their quarterback situation because what they're doing is similar to what the Giants are doing. So
how?
Okay, so you have Josh Rosen, right?
Yeah.
And you have Daniel Jones. This is similar to what happened with Baker, right? Like you traded for Josh Rosen. You took Daniel Jones' 6th overall pick. Baker's number 1 pick.
That's a better comparison what the Browns did, because the Browns got a quarterback to protect themselves in case. Like they really want Baker, but they got Tyrod. Justin Key's like the security blanket right now for everybody.
But here's the thing. Baker's probably kind of outlier too because he's a number 1 overall pick. I just think when it comes to quarterbacks, you see it every single year. There's always a team that has like a quarterback battle. And I think if you have a quarterback battle, like, sorry, you're gonna have a bad season. Like
you don't have a quarterback. You don't have a quarterback battle.
If you have more than one quarterback, you don't have a quarterback at all. Yeah. And Ryan Fitzpatrick is Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Well, he got a 5-year deal.
Backup.
Brian got a 5-year deal to fix it. So
No. And that's all the more reason why I would like to see them go all in on Josh Rosen.
Okay.
Like, you're not going anywhere this year. If it's a disaster, great, you get a high draft pick. Then you might really get your guy. I just think you have to say who the guy is. 1, for the locker room. 2, for confidence for young players is huge, especially at the quarterback position. You're not really the guy. You can't really command the room. You can't really command the team. You can't even really command the huddle. You're always trying to prove yourself. And prove yourself for what? It's Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's going to make you just good enough to not get a high draft pick, win a couple of games, be terrible in a couple of games, and then he's going to retire in 2 years.
Maybe Rosen is for sure the guy all along, and I've seen a lot of cases where competition gives you your answers.
True.
You know, you really find out. And we talked about earlier before we came on here, my time in Seattle, that's how they operate. It is legit competition. Like, no one walks in there and you're the guy. You know, you look at the Matt Flynn when he signed there, and they drafted Russell. Matt Flynn got paid, and he was like, we're going to play this dude. We're going to play the rook. You know, that's how I see it. So I feel like it's strategy in terms of competition. I understand. I agree with you. Like, just tell us who it is. Just let him go for it. But I think they want him to earn it in his own right. Like, have him earn it, even though he probably already earned it in whatever their plans are in the front office.
Yeah. And then strategically, he will earn it the right way if someone like Ryan Fitzpatrick is pushing him to. Having the right backup can make a whole team.
I think it depends on where you are in the culture. So for Miami, I mean,
They got a lot of work.
Matt Moore was like the most popular guy in the world for Ryan Tannehill's entire career, right? Like just couldn't wait to get Matt. Like people were really saying like Matt Moore should be the starting quarterback of the Dolphins, which is insanity, obviously. Like no disrespect to Matt Moore.
A lot of disrespect to Matt Moore.
No. Excellent backup quarterback.
You could just say no. You said insanity.
He's not better than Ryan Tannehill. He's not. He's not better than Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill about to take Marcus Mariota's job.
He's not, and listen, I'm in no way a big Ryan Tannehill fan, all right? But he's not better than Ryan Tannehill. And then you have the situation in New York. Now, you said you liked the Daniel Jones pick.
Yeah.
So you and the Giants were the ones that liked
and
that.
Eli and the Manning family. The Manning family were big fans of that
he went
pick.
under the same coaching, the same tutelage.
Why are you agreeing with my joke?
It's not a joke. It's the truth.
It's the truth. But
Gettleman was there when they drafted Eli and got all the information from Cutcliffe. Same thing. They got all the information they needed too.
He has done a good job. I mean,
so do you think that Eli Manning should have the job at this point?
He should have the job. Yeah, he'll finish out this year.
Is that good for Daniel Jones or bad for Daniel Jones?
It's good for Daniel Jones.
Because he's going to get to sit behind mediocre Eli Manning,
or
why this? Why?
We don't know what he's doing. We don't know what Eli's
the straight
at.
face. Look at the straight face.
I don't understand.
What I do?
Did I just say something dramatic that Eli Manning is not a good quarterback right now?
Okay, we don't know what he's going to be this next season.
He's going to get better.
He can. Like the. Am I crazy here?
He got MJ's magic stuff from Space Jam.
He could have a version of it. Deer antler spray changed the world.
Stuff?
And then he'll get suspended.
Secret stuff?
He'll get 4 games if you take
But what do you think about, like, because there's a real thing about any given Sunday and these certain variables that happen in certain inertia.
Yeah, any given Sunday is fine. Not any given season. That's not the movie. It's any given Sunday.
Okay.
It's one time, one moment. A game of inches, not a season of inches.
So Dennis Quaid.
You gotta claw for that inch.
You gotta fight for
that inch. So you're calling Eli Manning Dennis Quaid in any given Sunday.
You calling Cap? He's not Cap.
He's not Cap. He's got another year. He's about a year or two from being Cap.
Favre's Cap.
2 more years? We got 2 more years in this? We got 2 more years of Eli Manning.
We got 1 more year Eli Manning.
Okay.
Okay.
That I can live with.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't love it.
Just
I
like
don't
Patrick
love
Mahomes sat
but
behind Alex Smith for that 1 full year. He played his rookie at the end of his rookie year and was like, "Oh shit, here he come." It's gonna be the same thing with Daniel.
Daniel.
It don't sound right. It's the same with D. Jones.
Okay.
Wow.
You just leveled him up.
You know what I mean?
All right. So
all I gotta say is in Daniel Jones' defense, in comparison like with Baker, is like when Baker was in college, when he came out, there have been 20 guys drafted from Oklahoma from Baker's time. Well, Daniel Jones, he's the only guy that got drafted.
Right.
Meaning, who was he throwing to? Who was he playing with?
Fair.
At the end of the day, like, if you can play, you can play.
Yeah. It's like Patrick
That's
Mahomes.
my defense in terms of people saying, like, oh, we're shocked they took him. They did their homework.
Well, I think, okay, so, right. Yes.
The Jets do their homework and they...
All I know is
I'm saying
neither one of you watch tape.
No. We don't.
Who
but
don't?
we do study what people who watch tape say about
Plagiarism.
About,
at its
Oh, you
finest.
talking about college football tape? No,
about
Yeah,
wait,
I
no,
watch
no,
college
we
football
watch
tape.
I watch
games.
college football tape.
I don't watch tape.
I watch tape.
Okay, so that's fine. You're high on Daniel Jones.
You watch Daniel Jones tape?
You and the Giants.
Yes.
Anyway,
Where are we?
so Antonio Brown has finally got a helmet that is certified. Okay, so how well is he going to do this year? Because it's been a rocky start.
Maybe like 1,200, 15 TDs, usual year. What's up?
I can't dispute that. Honestly, I can't dispute it. I think how the rest of his team reacts to this, how his actor playing a head coach will react to this is one thing, but AB gonna eat.
I mean, I hope he does, but I don't have a lot of confidence right now based off of the way that this...
They're just messing with us. Mayock's been on TV. Gruden's been on TV. AB's been on Dancing with the Stars. They're messing with us.
We're all just pawns in their game?
Yeah, we're all just pawns in the game.
I mean, but are they going to win games, or is Antonio Brown just going to have a good season?
They don't know about that yet. They don't know nothing about that.
But they're building for that. They're working on that. That's why they changed what they're doing in the building. But they're just messing with us.
10 years Gruden has a contract for. Like, this is asinine. This is going to be the most watched terrible football team for the next 10 years.
Oh, slow down.
What are they
10 years? You're going to say the most terrible team for 10 years?
Who is going to be bad this year? You pushed back on a lot of our critiques
give us top
today.
5, top worst teams. Who's drafting first in the draft next year? Top 5.
I would say that the Dolphins are going to draft Tua. Number 1 overall.
We just went. He checked tape 2. Okay, what else?
Well, y'all said I pushed back. I'm just going to give you everything right now.
That's good. Give me that list right now.
Awful.
Tua, Dolphins going to lose all the games and draft Tua.
I might quit the business if that happens.
Tank for Tua.
No.
Dolphins going to be interesting.
Okay.
Arizona will be interesting.
So what kind of year do you think that Kyler is going to have?
Interesting.
Okay.
So we've learned what will.
It's more Kingsbury. It's more
not good.
It's more Kingsbury than Kyler.
Okay.
Amen. I love that take.
That's how I feel. So
You
I'm
think he's in over his head right now?
over his head.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna find out a lot, especially that whole discussion with the clap. Like for the snap, I'm like, all right, wait till you go to CenturyLink in Seattle. You ain't gonna hear a damn thing. Mm-hmm. Ain't gonna be no clap.
I guarantee you, talking about first head coach, you've questioned Freddie Kitchen being a first head coach. I guarantee you, I trust that tandem first year head coach than this tandem over here.
What
Obviously,
tandem?
Baker and Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah, Baker and Freddie Kitchen.
Dude, Baker doesn't even need a head coach. Anyone coach him.
That's all right. Let's roll
Except
that
for Hugh.
That's good.
Huh?
Let's cut
No,
put
but
it at the top.
he didn't have to coach him. He still won the game.
He just came in and won the game on a Thursday night.
Like how much? Like he, I don't know much about Freddie, but Baker is good in his own right. Like he can.
Baker chose Freddie. That's all I got to say. That's my thing.
Yeah,
and even when Jimmy G's
they
struggling
let
the
their
way he
stars
did.
in
Dorsey
Cleveland
chose
pick the head
Freddie.
coaches.
Yeah.
Dorsey chose Freddie. I'm Baker. All right.
Okay.
Where's the lie?
Game. We'll play that game.
Where's the lie?
Dorsey from the Ron Wolf tree.
Oh, I want to switch to Jimmy G. Okay, because Jimmy G.
Ron Wolf
was
from
terrible.
the Al Davis tree.
Okay, keep doing that while I'm doing this. You used to keep saying the tree.
John Snyder.
Okay. So, and Jimmy G, and the reason why, although he's
Reggie
only played
McKenzie.
11 snaps, I think that's a good enough sample size because Tom Brady was afraid to do. So I'm respecting who Tom Brady respects man to man. So I'm still scared of Jimmy G. He can have as many bad preseason games as he wants.
Why are you scared of Jimmy G? He's 8-2.
That seems like a reason to be scared of him. Is it?
8-2.
That's 10 games. I'm with you. Look, I've always been skeptical of Jimmy G, and then I found out that Belichick really wanted to keep him, so I kind of backed off of it because I originally said he was going to be a bust, but then Belichick was hiring him, so I kind of weakened on that stance.
And they got a second round for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's a good deal.
They're in a great position
Yeah,
because
I agree.
if he is terrible this year or if he gets hurt again, they can cut him and they have a $4.7 million or $4.2 million cap hit next year.
Mm-hmm.
So that astronomical contract is this is the last year of that, which I'm sure they're happy to pay to have a franchise quarterback.
For sure.
I don't think anyone should overreact to a bad
Not at all.
preseason game, but
Lions went 4-0
Ooh, we talked about it.
and went 0-16.
Yeah, they won a lot of. They do really well in the preseason. Lions
Didn't
do.
they? Super Bowl
No,
and
they
everything.
usually do. They usually do. They're usually 4-0 in the preseason.
so you don't have high expectations of Jimmy G.
I think he is the right fit for them. I do have high expectations for him. And I just think right now everyone's jumping the gun in terms of like, oh, he completed one pass last night. Oh, no. I think his issue right now is that he's getting back. I injured my knee before. I had 3 surgeries on my knee, and it took forever for me just to get comfortable. And last night, the Dolphins were bringing heat immediately. Mm-hmm. What if that was a strategy? Coaches talk pregame. What if the Niners
Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
You said Dolphins.
Dolphins? Did I say Dolphins?
And I was thinking, what's
I'm
the
sorry.
Was it the Dolphins? Was it the
Teams
Dolphins?
talk pregame, and
Yeah.
what if the Broncos and the Niners were talking like, "Hey, bring a little, don't kill my core, bring some pressure. Like I want him to get comfortable."
Yeah.
They talk all the time. Preseason games are all strategy. There's never a situation where the guys like we're going to try to outsmart them. It's like no, we keep it basic. We want to see certain guys do certain things. So I'm pretty sure that there's a chance that was a conversation to help him out.
Yeah, and the
That's
Cardinals aren't
interesting.
even using offensive plays that they're going to have during the season, like Kyler Murray.
49ers.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm saying that they're talking about preseason. That's an ongoing storyline with the Cardinals.
He threw them in there.
okay.
Yeah.
The fact that they're not even using anything they're going to have during the season.
Yeah, I mean, you're not throwing anything crazy out there, and a lot of teams are doing joint practices and stuff.
Right.
Like nobody should overreact to preseason. It's just all we have.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. But would you say like coming back from? I tore my ACL once, not as a professional athlete, but
doing what?
playing soccer.
Soccer league, though.
You're still playing a sport.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, thank you.
Well, give yourself credit. Yeah, give yourself credit.
It was
It's not-
competitive.
Yeah.
It was a women's league.
At least you
in
weren't
Miami.
going out on Sunset and you tripped off the curb. Like that's
No,
that
it was a
been
legitimate sports injury.
Good point.
But I didn't play sports for a living, so coming back from it was awful. And I'm 5'2", so I couldn't wear heels for an entire year, which sucked. Which is why I don't play soccer anymore.
So it's like the
But
Rothies.
it's mental. A lot of it is mental.
It's all mental.
So is that going to be the hardest part for him?
That is the hardest part, to trust it.
Yeah.
Because due to the fact that it was non-contact. Mine was non-contact, and I'm like, damn, I made this jump cut ever since I was a kid, and I made that jump cut, and my knee was gone. So it took.
Did it change your game after that, coming back from it, or did you ever learn to trust it again?
It changed my game for a little bit. I would, purposely line up on the right side so that if there was any in-breaking routes, I would plan off my right side.
Okay.
But then eventually, I just kept training it, and I gained confidence back in it.
Well, we appreciate you coming on with us today. Is there
I'm gone already?
I mean,
Y'all were over here. Y'all were over here.
A half an hour. 36 minutes.
Y'all were over here like, man.
I mean,
Well, we can have you on again.
I mean,
Is there anyone? So first of all, where can people find you? NFL Wine Guy.
At Will Blackmon is me. You can
Right.
find that on Twitter and Instagram, and then at NFL Wine Guy.
And NFLWineGuy.com.
Yes, NFL Wine. And,
there
and subscribe. We're gonna have. Do you like subscription services? You like that at all? No.
I do, yes.
So basically, it is going to be a situation where I'll introduce my favorite 2 wines that month. And,
that's fun. I was just about to ask you, what do you recommend right now?
Yeah, in the summer's ending, getting into fall. What's the palate?
Why'd you say it like that? Why?
Because you said Simeon today. So I can say
Simeon Yay.
Whatever you said.
You want Semillon? You can have that. Yeah, that is a wine.
That's really cool, actually.
That is a wine, Semillon.
Put it for them.
Okay, so subscribe. Well, I mean, we have the ability to edit, so
I know, but
we
this
can
is,
put it
look
up
at this.
so
Look
it's
how
not.
natural this is.
Okay, so subscribe to NFLWineGuy.com.
Just
and we'll
follow
check you out.
yeah,
and
subscribe,
follow NFL Wine
me,
Guy.
yeah.
With it. With it. Quit it.
What?
With it.
We about to turn up in this bitch.
All right, what am I winning or quitting today?
The Antonio Brown saga continues as Raiders star receiver filed a second grievance with the NFL to wear his special helmet. Out diving OBJ yet again this offseason. A little of these off the field antics are reminding a lot of people of a loud, talented Hall of Fame wide receiver who has been on this show. Joy, Antonio Brown is the new Terrell Owens. With it or quit it?
Quit it. One, it's a little disrespectful to T.O. to compare him to Antonio Brown. Now, stick with me for a second, because it's not being disrespectful to Antonio Brown either, who I am a big fan of, who I hope has a great year and great years to come. But at this particular point in his career, Antonio Brown is not T.O. Now, we can look at the stats, all right? But T.O. played 15 seasons, and AB has played 9 seasons. All right, I'm not going to run down a million different numbers, but T.O. obviously has more. Now, he's played more seasons, so that's a given. But Antonio Brown is not a Hall of Famer at this point in his career. If he retires tomorrow, like he said he might if he didn't get his helmet situation sorted out, he's not in the Hall of Fame.
No.
He's an all-time great player who had the potential to be a Hall of Famer, but at this point is not a Hall of Famer. And at this point is now on a mediocre at best team that is rebuilding with a head coach that, while ridiculously entertaining, not a lot of people have a lot of confidence in being able to rebuild the situation.
Nor should they. He's
with a less talented quarterback in Derek Carr.
Yeah.
And Antonio Brown is by far the best player on this team. And like they're the top center in the league. Okay.
Yeah, no.
You're going from a situation with the Steelers to a situation with the Raiders. Nobody feels like this is an upgrade of a situation in any position and any coaching, executives, like nothing. No part of it is an upgrade except for the fact that you're going to Vegas, which
they have a good
Training camp in Napa.
another perk.
Okay, yes. They have a good wide
Although
receiver.
St. Vincent College is a wonderful place.
Shouts out to St. Vincent College.
Not Napa.
I'll take your word for it.
They have a good running back, a top 10 pick at running back that could change the league in a way that we've seen top 10 running backs change. So there's some promise there.
Look, the comparisons are coming because he's a quote-unquote distraction, right? Yes. Like the helmet thing has gotten completely out of control. Now, they've said that he's found a helmet, as we mentioned with Will Blackmon, like they have a helmet, right?
Yes.
Like he has a certified helmet.
Which is so weird to say. He has a helmet, guys. Antonio Brown has found a helmet to play with.
Are his feet fixed? Because his very much self-inflicted injury of getting his feet frostbitten in a cryotherapy machine it has not been resolved yet. Drew Rosenhaus was on the Herd the other day and said that he'll be ready by week 1, but that's his agent. Like, do we really know? No. We don't know. And the helmet thing is only solved temporarily. Next year, they're going to either go through this all over again or he's not going to play all over again because it's still phased out.
The superstition, he'll start to get his new juju with this new helmet. That's not going to become. It's not going to bubble over into next year. This is silliness that is going to be all things heal with time. And this helmet thing and Antonio Brown being a disruptive Raiders fan is going to heal with times too because he's going to start winning games.
I don't know.
Not
to
really.
Me, T.O. was obviously. I mean, the incidents that he had away from the field. Celebrating on the star logo. It's my quarterback. Working out in the driveway, pulling the Sharpie out of his sock. Like he had all very similar incidents to Antonio Brown. I feel like Antonio Brown's probably the modernized version of it. Going on Facebook Live and Twitter and all these other things. Yes. But I think the biggest thing to me that separates T.O. from Antonio Brown is that T.O.'s career is unquestioned in just his absolute dominance. Some people don't even think that Antonio Brown is the top receiver in the league right now.
That's a result of the talent that he around, but he's definitely everyone's top 3. I don't think that's debatable.
And top 3 for sure, but it's not like without question that you could put DeAndre Hopkins in that conversation. You could put Odell in that conversation. You could put Julio Jones in that conversation. You can.
That's about it. That's about deep as that well goes.
And the Raiders are not, and the whole conversation about Antonio Brown being a distraction, the Raiders are not a Super Bowl level team. And that's the biggest separation to me in their careers. Like, T.O. and the Eagles losing that Super Bowl, you're in the Super Bowl. The Raiders might not win 6 games this year. So the idea that Antonio Brown is the source of a distraction or the issues for the Raiders is silly. Like, yes, we're having all these conversations about Antonio Brown, but if Antonio Brown is at 100% and he's out on the field, he's going to be the best player on that team, and they're still not going to make a Super Bowl.
But they could make it to the playoffs, which is what Terrell Owens did and over.
No, they are not going to make the playoffs.
They can make the play. The
on
Raiders.
What planet? Did they move divisions?
The NFL this upcoming season.
No.
Yes, this is.
What are you talking about? The Raiders are not making the playoffs.
The Titans made the playoffs. The Jaguars made the playoffs.
Why?
I'm sure the Bills are knocking on the doors of the
playoffs.
I'm telling you that it's a possibility, and that I think the comparisons with Terrell Owens and Antonio Brown have more weight than not and more validity than not because Antonio Brown is on a Hall of Fame tear in the NFL like T.O. was. The thing about it is Antonio Brown had one quarterback this entire time who is arguably a Hall of Fame quarterback anyways or going into the Hall of Fame. So yes, Antonio Brown with Derek Carr, we don't know the success of that, but comparing him to T.O. is 9 years in is a reasonable comparison. A lot of people argue T.O. at 9 years in was not going to the Hall of Fame because of his antics.
But T.O. didn't finish his career that way. So we're comparing someone who has had a Hall of Fame career and it's legitimized by him being in the Hall of Fame, even if there was some
first ballot, whatever.
Some things going on with that.
Right.
I think Antonio Brown obviously has the potential to be a Hall of Famer, but we don't know what's going to happen with the Raiders other than they're not going to make the playoffs this year because their division is probably the hardest in all of football. And if they don't go on a stretch where they develop into a playoff team, what is the rest of his career going to look like? So T.O., while all the talk about him being a distraction and him being a problem and all that, he was on a Super Bowl level team because they made it to the Super Bowl. The Raiders are not a Super Bowl level team, and they may never be. Guess what? They have to move next year. That's a very difficult thing for a team to do.
Particularly without Jeff Fisher to lead you on that move.
I mean, you can knock Jeff Fisher if you want to, but dude knows how to move a team.
Listen, Drew Rosenhaus picks similar people and similar talents
I mean,
and
he
similar.
was the agent of both of them.
And
yes.
and
he said himself that they are not the same kind of player.
He has a type of player that he goes afterwards.
I just think Antonio Brown has a lot to prove, but I also think that
T.O. didn't. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame. Because he always had to prove that he was one of the best. As you're saying, he's one of the best year in, year out, and everyone was saying he's a bad teammate, and every year in, year out, he had to prove it on the field. I don't like Antonio Brown's character and the personality that he's become off the field, but you can't argue the fact that he's from the MAC and has earned every dollar he's coming his way.
Oh, no.
He's just a diva that the Steelers created.
Yes, and he's a 6th-round draft pick. Yes, he absolutely has proven himself up until this point. I just don't know what the rest of his career is going to be. And I think that T.O., in my mind, is on another level because he is in the Hall of Fame. Like if Antonio Brown stopped playing right now, he's not in the Hall of Fame. I don't know what the rest of Antonio Brown's career is going to be, and that's not necessarily Antonio Brown's fault.
Yeah.
So antics and stuff, like you can compare the two, fine. But for all the talk about T.O. being a distraction, Hall of Fame level receiver, put up Hall of Fame numbers, and they were in the Super Bowl. Antonio Brown did not have the success that they needed to have with the Steelers, and he may not have it with the Raiders. Like, the Raiders are not in a position of trending up.
I mean, yeah, no one can debate you with that.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Okay, we're at the midway point of the NFL preseason, so real football is right around the corner. Before we get to football, let's talk about interesting football. We have the Browns, the Raiders, the Packers, the Giants, the Cowboys. Joy, no wit it or quit it. Who are the top 5 most interesting teams in America?
Well, first I'm going to go with the Browns.
Ooh.
Obviously, they are all noise all the time, which we
Yes,
love. We
I
love
like that.
noise in this business.
Sure do.
And I think that they're actually going to be competitive this year. I don't think they're a Super Bowl level team. What I think it's going to come down to is, do they make or miss the playoffs? Because if they miss the playoffs, and I don't want to be dramatic,
Yeah, I was talking about this today on the herd.
but it will be the apocalypse.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, it will. Yes,
No.
it will.
How?
Yes, it will.
How?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. And the next is the Cowboys.
Wait a minute. How? Wait a minute. I know. I got
How
you.
will be the apocalypse? Baker,
They're the-
Odell.
It's Cleveland.
Kareem Hunt.
There's enough excuses for why they
Jarvis Landry.
There's enough excuses why they should make the playoffs as there are excuses and variables why they shouldn't.
No. You can't put together a squad like that, have the noise and drama and expectations that they do. Embrace the noise. It's not like they're out there like, no, we just want to build a culture. We're just going to be humble, and we don't know what we're going to be this year. We're just going to work hard, try
Trying to
hard.
win today.
We're gonna
Every
try
day.
hard.
Every day.
Just
They're happy
win
to
the
see a
hour.
Tuesday.
Win the day. That's not what's happening. So
Okay.
yes, if they don't make the playoffs, it's going to be a problem. People are going to come for their head, from the neck up. He's going to be available. The Cowboys are always interesting, obviously,
Yes.
but they've got a complete disaster pie on their hands, which they're trying to sort out, which we'll get to in a minute. But for me, I just think what happens with Dak and Zeke this year and Amari is important, because teams don't have huge windows, unless you're the Patriots, to win Super Bowls, to have guys in place. I mean, look at the Rams. Like, the Rams got the Super Bowl. They may not make it back to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff. Like,
Nope.
Dan Marino is proof of that every single time. Like, just you have the moments you have to take advantage of them. Now, I think that they will be back, but who knows?
There's no
There's so
guarantees
many.
with
There's
that
so many moving
offense.
parts. There's
Yeah.
injuries. Like, you never know what's going to happen. So I think that the Cowboys are in a Super Bowl level position, and I hope they take advantage of it, and that will be interesting to watch.
Right.
The Packers are super
Packers.
underrated this year. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have an MVP season. I just call it. I think he's going to win the MVP.
Aaron Rodgers is going to win the MVP.
I think so. Yeah.
And you're saying that because he's been doubted?
Yeah, and I think
Okay.
he's going to play. He's gonna have an amazing season. I think he's gonna be the MVP this year. So watching them is gonna be great. The Jets,
0 weapons.
Le'Veon Bell,
Okay.
Sam Darnold, Adam Gase is
The
for whatever
Jets.
reason always finds a way to make things interesting. I don't know if the
Yes.
camp beard is gonna stay. Is he gonna stay? Is he gonna go? Does he still have the camp beard?
Still got those crazy eyes.
I mean, yeah, Sam Darnold looks like Chucky Doll, quite literally. But the Jets are interesting.
They're the future of that division. So I think in 3 years they are.
I like that. Like that.
2 years from this year. So
Can't
3
push
years.
back.
Yeah, they are going to be Super Bowl level.
Oh, I mean, now they have the weapons and the personnel and the roster and all the pieces that you look at them and like, ooh.
Plus, Le'Veon
Not
is
the
going to
Packers.
go off.
Yes, exactly.
Finally, the Dolphins.
Joy.
I mean,
Top 5.
what can I say?
We should have started from the bottom and went up.
We're friends with someone who's friends with our coach now,
franchise,
so that's
right?
good.
Yeah. Will's friends with Brian Flores.
Yeah, sure.
I live there.
The Dolphins. Joy, how are the Dolphins in the top 5 most interesting team in the NFL?
Fitzmagic.
So he's interesting for 3 weeks during the season.
That color
Continue.
scheme, though, that color scheme's nice. That's very interesting.
Super Bowl's in Miami, so we're going to be talking about Miami literally all year. Miami will be mentioned at least once in every broadcast.
Manning? Is that what you said?
Miami.
Every broadcast.
I know I'm holding my hands like
yeah,
this. Josh Rosen.
Yes, okay.
Okay. Kenny Stills.
Joy, okay, now we are reaching.
Kenny Stills all over the news right now.
I understand. He's also always in the social media streets, but we're talking about football games.
No, we're not. What do you mean? What do you mean? The Browns.
Interesting.
The Browns were 90% of the stuff we talk about the Browns has nothing to do with on the field. That's what interesting means. It's a combination of competitiveness and off the field stuff.
Okay, if you're going to do that, then let's talk about the owners.
Dolphins still qualify.
Let's talk about the owners. Let's talk about the crazy coaches y'all let coach in there and do whatever they want to do off the desk. Let's talk about all the. Okay.
So
Miami should be in the top 5.
You talk
top
yourself
10.
into it.
Top 10.
I say top 5.
Okay. That's it. I mean, you want me to tell you my top 5?
Yeah,
no, we don't
quickly,
spend time to.
Go through it.
I'm
sure we have most of the same.
No, you have 3 teams in here that should not be in the top. Okay, I will go Cowboys, Browns, Raiders will stay interesting.
I just don't think they're going to be good enough.
The Raiders will stay interesting. With the Jets on here.
Jets are
Ravens.
Okay.
And the Giants.
I would definitely no Ravens, and my pushback with the I don't know why I'm so down on them. I think it's just like your overconfidence in the Ravens has made me.
I'm not even confident.
Like,
I'm just a fan,
down
and
on the Ravens.
I'm just
I
peeping
Lamar
game.
Jackson.
I'm peeping game.
I just don't. The Raiders are obviously going to be interesting. They're my top 10. I just don't think they're going to be good enough.
Right.
And then eventually, when you don't win enough games, we stop talking about you, no matter who is on the team.
Shouts out to the Jets.
And the Giants, though, kind of fly in the face of that, because I do think the Giants are going to be the worst team in the NFL, and I do think Daniel Jones will be starting by week 5.
I love that take. I hope to.
Thank you.
The sports gods that we see Daniel Jones start over Eli Manning this year. Take that, Archie.
Well, I mean,
They didn't want that to happen. They didn't have him drafted so he could start now.
No, he should be starting next year, but I think it's going to be so bad, and I think the fans are going to be freaking out so much that that's what I think. That's what's going to end up happening.
It's time for high key, low key.
All right, high key, the Lakers are mad weird. And low
Stay
key, I gotta stay weird, because it means we can talk about you still in the beginning of NFL season. So, obviously, Boogie Cousins is out for the year. He tore his ACL.
Yes.
To the random person that tweeted me that he'll be back in 2 months, WebMD is available for you. It's not how it works. Although we would all love that. Okay, it's not happening. We're not going to see Boogie Cousins, unfortunately, this year. He tore his ACL in Vegas practicing. He's done, and that whole situation is very unfortunate. It feels worse for Boogie than it does for the Lakers, because I really didn't know how Boogie was going to fit in that to begin with.
Yeah.
But it's like we all wanted to see Boogie get back to form, and it just sucks. But that being the case, they are looking for someone to fill Boogie's spot. So they put through some names out there. And of course, everyone reacted exactly the same to the news as a collective. Every once in a while, the whole internet reacts the same to something.
Yes.
It's like an eclipse. But when it happens, we're all like, no! Yeah. And this is one of those situations. So they're looking to replace him. The names that are floating out there are Joakim Noah, Martin Gortat.
Yep.
Mo Spates.
That's Mo Spates.
And most notably, Dwight Howard.
Infamously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, 5 years ago, all great names. But we're not in a hot tub time machine.
We're not,
okay, still debatable.
Yes.
But okay, good
5
names,
years ago
good
may
names.
not be.
Okay, 7 years
enough.
ago. 7 years
Yeah.
ago.
Oh
okay?
yeah, great names.
Great names.
Let's get them now.
Strong.
All of them.
Yeah, how could we even fit all? Like,
Right, yeah.
where you
Super
go?
team.
What direction do you go? Right. Here's what I don't understand. One, why? Right? Because why?
Yeah.
2, what I just said 7 years ago, the entire league has changed.
Yeah.
3, why are you doing the exact same thing that you did last year? 4, Carmelo Anthony is available. And look, like we've had plenty of conversations about Carmelo Anthony.
Yes.
But Carmelo Anthony has height and he can spread the floor. His whole game is shooting.
Yes.
What? Why? How? Where? What's happening? What do you mean? Why is this information on my? I can't even. Like my brain is not working anymore.
No, there's an explanation that seems cut and dry. Whatever they had planned for Boogie, these are the type of players that they wanted to fill.
Anthony Davis doesn't want to play center, right?
Right.
And he even though he played like 96% of his time as center for the Pelicans.
Right.
Also, is center still center, really?
No, but that's the point. What is
Yes.
what is this? Like
Yeah,
that's exactly the point.
yes,
Like you're
it is the
looking
point.
for like a legit. Like we're having conversations about if Dwight Howard should even be in the league at all. And no disrespect to Dwight Howard, but just like the game has changed.
Well, like, yeah, the Lakers need to be in a best player available type of mentality for the rest of the roster.
How is Melo not the answer for this situation?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I think whatever wrinkle he brings to a locker room, we don't know if that's fixed yet. And the Lakers proved last season that they're not the strongest adhesive when it comes to a locker room. So someone like Carmelo Anthony could throw a complete season out of the way.
So Dwight Howard is the answer for that
Oh
situation?
yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Let's look at the options
I
here.
mean,
Okay,
like,
and Joe
honestly,
Noah. Oh
I think like we're in LA. Denzel,
He's watched a lot of Lakers games. He'd be better.
Denzel
better option.
possibly be a better option. He does know
Billy
basketball.
Crystal.
Clippers fan, but seen a lot of
I mean,
basketball.
recruit him.
Yeah, what was that?
Dwight Schrute.
Dwight Schrute. Yeah,
Dwight's
we do
not
have,
even the best Dwight.
I mean, okay, there are some, yeah, because there's some bigger guys.
Lil Bow Wow.
About like, yeah,
Do you think Morris Chestnut's character from Like Mike is available too? Because
yeah, I don't know what his name is, but yeah,
Yep.
he could have did. I mean, we've seen Martin Lawrence play, and he's back in the scene now. They're
The
about to be
Allstate
bad
guy.
What about the Verizon guy who's now the Sprint guy who used to be the Verizon guy? He switched teams.
He
good.
probably played in a celebrity game at some point. He's ready to go.
He switched teams. Yeah, okay. I hear Michael B. Jordan. Be interesting.
There are so many other options. It's really confusing what the Lakers are doing. I mean, I appreciate it, as I said, always, because you always give us content. But this worries me. If you should be worried, you're a Lakers fan this year, right?
I mean,
You should be worried.
listen, when Zubac got traded, I was worried, and I still am.
Yeah.
Why did we give him away?
Yeah, he's in the same building though, so it's almost like you still got him. It's just that you'll have Dwight instead, which is
the opposite of having him.
As a non-Lakers fan, let me just say this. As a non-Lakers fan, having lived in Los Angeles for the sort of Dwight-sponsored collapse of the Lakers, shouts to Steve Nash is back, etc., this is great. I mean, this is...
If you're not a Lakers fan.
The type of Lakers debacle that allows them to put a sign on the top of Staples Center, or the side of Staples Center, that says "Stay D12." I mean, the fact that we can get more of that, whoo! Sign me up.
I feel like this was everyone's reaction when they saw it come across their notifications. Oh yeah. Matcha tea, cool. What?
Stop. The person drinking matcha tea was mad.
Everyone was mad.
The matcha tea ad lib was great.
Loser power rankings. Loser power rankings. These are the losers of the week.
All right, you're gonna have to explain in the most layman's terms possible, because the nerds already know.
Okay, well let me read IGN's tweet. Breaking: Spider-Man is reportedly out of the MCU as Sony and Disney failed to reach new terms to co-produce the franchise. That makes a lot of sense for people who are paying attention.
What's the MCU?
MCU is the Marvel comic book universe on screen. So like, as I make fun of you because your understanding of Marvel is through the MCU, not through the comic books, but they try to stay close to the thing.
Yeah, I have stuff to do. I watch the movies.
No, of course. But so if you remember at the beginning of this whole thing, like Tobey Maguire and those type of things.
I was not participating in Spider-Man when that was happening.
But that was the first.
Tom Holland is the only Spider-Man I recognize.
Well, that was the first kind of go
and
at
the cartoon
these,
one, obviously.
Yes, of course. Those are the first type of goes at these superhero things, and they kept switching. That's why you've had so many different Spider-Mans the last 5 years. Even is because Sony and Marvel have been going back and forth of rights and ownership of the brand and the name. And
after Homecoming, the second one came out that's supposed to go to the MCU Marvel universe, like he's taking over for Tony Stark.
Right.
This is huge news because now all of their plans for the last 15 years, they're trying to hand the baton off to Iron Man from
to Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. So guess
stop messing up our nerdness, man.
I'm saying you can look for
figure it out.
The next
now,
movie.
So who's gonna be new Iron Man?
I said the next movie we're gonna have to go back in time. We're gonna get Tony Stark back. Like, come on,
He's
actually, matter of fact,
retired.
rewind.
No, he has.
Where the time stone at?
Robert
Somebody
Downey
get a time
Jr.
stone.
has mentally checked out from Tony Stark. All right, this is nonsense. They got to figure this out. First of all, I'm not.
We're all losers.
We are all losers for this.
Yes,
We have all just lost. This is devastating news.
Hey,
One, this might mean we get a new Spider-Man. Which look,
and I have not been I have not followed all the MCU universe ones because I was like, I don't know where this is going to go because I knew about this. I knew about this stuff, and I didn't want to get tied up with Spider-Man.
It's the worst when suits mess up like something that is that massively creative.
And Stan Lee's not here. This is the first time Stan Lee's not here to plan for plans.
Just a warning: there is no nation like Nerd Nation.
Amen.
So watch yourself. All right. Next loser is there's a huge chicken sandwich debate. Who started this? The Popeyes?
Popeyes posted their new chicken sandwich,
which is nationwide. So good. Forgot how speak incomplete sentences very cute. So it's chicken brioche pickles. Sounds yummy.
Yes.
I mean, who doesn't love Popeyes?
Yes.
So then all the chicken sandwich distributors started getting involved. Chick-fil-A.
Yes. Now they've rolled this out. Popeyes has rolled this chicken sandwich out before. That's why I've had it before, and I'm a Popeyes connoisseur.
Shake Shack.
Whatever
Popeyes
Will
sommelier.
Blackmon is to wine, I am to Popeyes
Sommelier?
chicken.
You're chicken sandwich
I'm a sommelier for Popeyes.
Or just a Popeyes.
Yes.
So you can
Red beans and rice sommelier.
Oh, so good. I don't say that again. Bojangles and then Wendy's. Okay.
Yes.
So
What Bojangles is?
Don't do that.
don't do that.
Don't do that. Travel to the south.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm good.
All right. So let's start off with this is the correct list. All right. Of people who should be in this conversation. I don't have a
The
problem
best
with
chicken sandwich?
I don't have a problem with any of them being in this conversation.
Okay, what's
I'm
up?
trying to think of another chicken sandwich that should be in it. Nothing's coming to mind. Although I have appreciated the chicken sandwich off the dollar menu of McDonald's when the funds are low.
McChicken.
It's not a bad snack.
A McChicken. Don't get in the secret menus with me because I've talked about a Mc. They know how to make those too.
It's not a bad snack. I don't know what happened.
Maybe bleep that out just because,
yeah.
but because it's the secret menu. It's a
okay.
secret menu, obviously, because everybody don't know about the
It's not a bad snack, but it's not a chicken sandwich. It's not a chicken sandwich.
It's a patty.
It's a thing
Yeah,
that you put in your face and consume when
with
you
mayo.
have $1. Yeah.
Yes.
So
McDonald's mayo too.
now I'm sure I've had the Popeyes chicken sandwich, but I can't quite recollect the flavor of it.
Yeah.
I have had a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Not my favorite thing at Chick-fil-A. I enjoy Chick-fil-A nuggets.
Oh my gosh! I feel
Okay.
like I got punched in the chest. I was paralyzed. What do you mean? Ashley's melted.
The losers of this. Now the Shake Shack chicken sandwich is strong.
Yes, it is.
Strong.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
But not available to everyone. So I kind of can't really include them in this conversation. They're
okay.
almost like
Don't do that.
gourmet-ish,
Yeah,
you know?
it's like arguing about In-N-Out with burgers nationwide. You can't do
Right,
it.
like you can't really do it.
Right.
That's why we don't care about that silly nonsense Texas one. What is it?
Whataburger.
Whataburger, yeah.
Good stuff too. Honey butter chicken biscuit.
I've never had it. Wendy's is the answer. Like, we all know this, right?
Wendy's chicken sandwich
first
is-
of all, the strongest fast food restaurant on the planet, consistently with all available items. Frosty, nothing better. They have baked potato, chili. They have actually edible salads for a fast food place.
So good.
Been on the
Summerfield?
fresh never
Strawberry
frozen.
Field?
Been on that tip.
Been on it.
Been on that tip.
They've been giving you options for chicken
Ahead of the game.
grilled or home style
Before
or
it was
spicy.
even cute to be fresh not
Come
frozen.
on now.
They
Dave
just
been on
did
it.
it off principle.
They've been on it.
Their chicken
Baconator.
sandwich is the best chicken sandwich. It just is.
I want to push back. You're not
You
lying.
can't because I'm feeding you facts
You're
right
not
now.
lying. If you're on a long road trip and you see a Wendy's, you know you're about to eat good. You know you're about to eat good.
Their
It's
fries
like-
are not the top, but still in top.
Interesting.
Top
They're
five.
interesting
you
fries.
don't talk me into going tonight, and there's not a Wendy's around in LA. This is a
There are
travesty.
not. I don't
a
even know if I've ever
travesty.
seen a Wendy's out here.
No, but you're right. And the other sandwiches are good. I would say Popeyes, from having it, Popeyes chicken sandwich is like
Chick-fil-A's chicken sandwich made by black people.
Okay, so it's great.
It's just more calories. It's delicious.
I'm sure it's delicious. I'm saying Wendy's is the top all-around fast food restaurant, and their chicken sandwich is consistent.
No lies.
Like, you will always get a good chicken sandwich from Wendy's. So it's just number one. All right, final loser is the Cowboys. Jerry Jones, he got the jokey jokes. He got the jokes going about Zeke. He was asked about Zeke and Tony Pollard, and he said, Zeke who? And, of course, hilarity ensued.
Nah, there was, the black guy was close to the mic. That's why I laughed. Everybody, because I was like, wait a minute, where's this laugh coming from? Sound off mic, but he...
And his name is Clarence Hill. He's been on the show like 3 times. Not our show.
Well, he laughed a lot at it.
Yes,
he gave the
I genuinely think he was not expecting that response.
Yeah.
Right. That's
or
true.
any kind of joke.
And I don't think Jerry knew he was being filmed at that point.
He knew.
Because he kind of tried to tell him, like, yo, this is on camera. And
Jerry
then
wakes up
and then
thinking
Jerry
he's
tried to
being
wink
filmed.
through it. He tried to wink it off.
That was for Zeke.
Is he a bad winker? Have you ever seen bad
seemed
winkers?
like he'd be a good
People, they're
wink.
like,
He kind of just blinked, and I might have given him wink credit, but he tried to wink it off.
I'm not
like
good
that
at
was gonna
winking.
like that was
oh
gonna
my
make
God, you just
Zeke
went
not
cross-eyed
mad.
for a second. Anyway, Zeke and his agent did not appreciate it. They thought it was disrespectful, which it low-key is disrespectful.
Hokey.
But at this point, what are the Cowboys doing? So they signed Jalen Smith.
Get a man his money.
What?
His contract ain't up right
What
now,
do
but
you mean
get him settled.
You signed Jalen Smith. Like, you have Dak's contract on the table. You have Zeke holding
That's
out.
the extension
and
we were all waiting
You're
for.
going to sign Jalen Smith. And it's like, all of this was avoidable. One, you should have signed Dak months ago. You should have gotten that whole thing locked up. They'd be in a perfect situation in 3 years, just like Jimmy G is in San Francisco. A $4 million cap hit, it's nothing if he is a disaster this year. They should have been ahead of this. You knew how good Dak was. Hello? Have you been watching him?
Yeah.
Like, he's good enough to get this contract, and you could have avoided it. Zeke, I mean, you really couldn't have predicted that he was going to hold out, but if you look at the temperature of running backs in the league right now, you could have probably seen this coming. I'm sure this wasn't the first conversation they had about it.
Okay.
I'm sure his agent had
is true.
feelers out there.
You
They're
would
not
probably,
completely blindsided.
It was in the wind, probably.
But by all means, sign Jalen Smith. That makes sense. All right, what's in the Migos Culture Report?
Okay, so the Proud Family.
Yes.
Okay, the Proud Family. Wait a minute, who sang that? That theme
Destiny's
song?
Child.
Destiny's Child. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Thank you for yelling at me, guys. The Proud Family is coming back from a reboot.
Yes.
Tommy Davidson. You guys remember Tommy Davidson? You know, Tommy Davidson. He was Papa Proud, Oscar, right? And he was screaming stuff. Basically, he's coming back, but it's been gone for 16 years. They're going to put it on that new Disney streaming service, Disney Plus. But now everyone's talking, is it 16 years later? Is Kyla Pratt or Penny Proud 32 years old?
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Is the grandma still giving them flavor at an old age? Is
Yes.
BB and CC the two baby twins? Are they 16 now?
I hope
17?
it's just an exact reboot.
I know, me too. I just wanted to get
Like, I don't want to see
run it
like
back.
the next version. Yeah, just run it back.
But they're also very stereotypically, like, there's things that were kind of racy at the time, but it was just all about comedy that I don't know if they'll have now. You know what I mean?
Run it back,
Yes,
but
exactly.
run it back with a modern twist. Like, it should be
That's
that
fair.
kind of reboot. Like, I don't want to see them all grown up.
Yeah.
I want to see that exact structure with a modern reboot of it.
Not fair.
I'm
Okay, I
hyped
like
for
that.
this. I
And
love
then
Proud Family.
on Monday was the anniversary of it was Nate Dogg's birthday. Obviously, R.I.P. Nate Dogg. Just huge in all of culture and everything, and that voice, and we missed it. He was on commercials.
Put on a Spotify Nate Dogg playlist. You're good all day.
Yes, it's just lit.
So smooth with it.
Anyways, and then finally, Lil Nas X, Old Town Road, all the damn remixes, every little mix and twist of it has been overtook by a song that we thought was #1 the whole time.
Oh, what? We did?
It was on the radio at the same time. Billie Eilish's Bad Guy is now the #1 song.
guy.
Bad Girl. But shouts
Very
out to her.
catchy, not catchier than Old Town Road. But
Yes.
all good things come to an end.
Yes, thank
yes,
God.
it's no longer the #1 song.
So long that it had the crown.
19 weeks. Good for him, though. You see his time cover?
I did.
Styling.
Yes, I love that. I
You can't
love
see my foot, but I'm tapping it like this.
Yeah, okay. Oh, what do you think about Panini? I like Panini.
I love Panini.
Yeah, I love
Hey,
Panini.
Don't you be a meanie.
Can't
And
go nowhere.
Rodeo is excellent. Cardi goes so
Yes.
hard on that song. I have to
Yes.
remember that I can't do that or I go to jail. Like she's
Cardi, stay winning. She just endorsed Bernie.
Yes, Hustlers is coming out soon.
Yeah. Wait a minute. What's that?
When is that movie coming out?
What's
I think
that?
it's September.
What's Hustlers?
Hustlers. What are you talking about? J-Lo, Lizzo, Cardi B.
Is this a mixtape?
It's a stripper movie. What are you talking about?
Stripper. Oh, that's what she been. Every time I see that, I try to
When's it come
avoid
out?
it. I try
Comes
to
out
keep my-
September 13th.
try to
and
keep my
me and
IG
my
clean.
privilege are terrified.
You should go with someone.
Yeah. Oh, is it gonna be like?
If you're gonna see it.
It's gonna be like Bernie Mac and the Players Club.
It's they rob customers.
Oh. So it's like a. Is it like the Blind Side for Cardi B? Is that not something I'm supposed to say?
Shout out
Don't know.
Billie Eilish, the
Don't
bad
know
guy,
what that
and we will discuss Hustlers when it comes out. Yes, and Euphoria recap
Yes.
next week. We are almost done. We have one more episode to watch.
There's some show. Have you seen The Boys on Amazon Prime
No,
yet?
but I'm gonna start watching
Joy?
that. Yes. Yeah, I'm on it.
It's talking about superhero stuff. It's one of the best shows I've seen on TV in a long
We're
time.
on it. We're on it. All right. Thanks for joining us this week. Thank you to Will Blackmon,
Yes.
future sommelier,
Yeah, shouts out to him.
NFL wine guy. You're getting into wine, right?
I am. I'm ever since LeBron pushed it, I'm all in. And you got me the best wine. Where's that wine from you got me for Christmas? Best wine I've had.
Oh, I don't remember what I got you.
Yeah. But
It
it was a
good-
red.
it
It
was
was a
good
nice
wine, though.
I like a nice red.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
good one. I don't remember which one it was though. But you're welcome.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
I imagine it was the Napa Connection people. So I imagine that's what I'm
Oh
trying to
no,
ask.
we didn't know
Wasn't
them
about
then.
that?
No.
Okay.
So subscribe on YouTube. Maybe I'm Crazy Podcast on YouTube. Our social media at Maybe I'm
man.
Crazy Pod. Brandon Newman Show 99, myself, Joy Taylor Talks. Catch Brandon on Fridays for the Brandon Newsman update. All the
Yes.
stories that happened this week that we didn't get to today on Tuesday. Thanks for listening. And we are doing the
Yes.
Fantasy Football League again
talk
this
to y'all
year.
about
We're
that,
going to do
yeah.
a few less because all of us are going to participate.
Yes.
But we do want you to send in videos like last year, and we will pick the best ones, and you will be able to participate.
Not
in
via
Fantasy Football
email.
League.
Some people are trickling in emails right now. We see y'all coming. We're gonna send y'all to our IG page, but we'll tell you how
will
we
let
working
you
that
know
out. Yes.
likely next week
Yes.
what the setup is for that. And we are also going to be doing fan videos as well. So if you have a
Yep.
hot, crazy take that you want to share on our social media, send it to us and we may repost it. And you might get ridiculed by the crazies.
Of course.
It's available sometimes.
The conversation.
They have comments.
Yes,
Just
let's
an
do it.
announcement. I'm not pregnant. Just want to reiterate that again. I just want to reiterate that again for anyone who's wondering.
Everybody was very nice to you in the comments
I had
this
to make
week.
an official statement.
No, everybody was very nice to you in the comments last week.
Well,
Some people say
okay.
you was fishing for compliments because you know you gorgeous.
No,
okay, I'm
not
just
fishing
saying.
for compliments.
Just saying.
Just so you know, if a woman feels compelled to tell you that she is not, in fact, not pregnant, that is not a fishing for compliments situation.
No, guys, learn.
Yes.
But
No,
I
I
did
had to
wanna
make an
bring it up.
official statement. I stand by that statement again for another week. And just as a note in life, saying that someone looks pregnant is not a nice thing to say.
No, it's not. You can say
Unless I'm literally pregnant and I've said out of my face I'm pregnant. So even when I'm 9 months pregnant,
Yes.
if I haven't said I'm actually in fact pregnant,
right.
just don't say
You
it.
can't say.
I don't know what. Is that not a thing that they you learn?
Yeah, no, you should learn it. But also, that's the woman's age thing. Chivalry isn't dead, but it's on life support. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if enough people are teaching the people. So, like, what do you say when someone has and you're like, "Ooh, you look like me eating good."
I mean,
Like, oh,
you
you
don't
come on
say anything.
vacation?
Nobody asked you.
You don't say that.
If I put a picture of myself up like this and I say, "Do I look like I gained weight?" and then you say yes, then okay, I asked you,
Okay.
did I gain weight? If someone says to you, "You look pregnant," that's not. Nobody asked you, "A, do I look pregnant?" Did I say, "Do I look pregnant?" No, I didn't ask you that.
But there should be. Okay, here's my thing. I yo-yo and I balloon. I see myself as a young Jonah Hill in my weight. So I say that to say,
How
if
old's
you can
Jonah
tell
Hill?
me that I look great when I lose weight, you should be able to say something to me when I'm clearly not lose weight like
I
right
don't
now.
say anything about anyone's weight because I don't care if you gain or lose weight.
That's fair. That's a good point. You should be like Joy, everybody. Everybody be like Joy.
Yeah, I've been telling the world that for years.
No,
Whenever
yeah.
anyone wants to get on board. But yeah, in general, no, that's not a thing you do.
That is true. She's never once commented
Now,
about me
if you
looking
post a
thinner.
picture of you like with abs and you're flexing or something, like, and some dramatic transformation, not like that's
Fishing
not
for
what you're looking
compliments.
for. But like, then you should expect people to say something. That's all I'm saying.
Look what happened, guys. No food.
I got a juicer.
Joy got a juicer. This is dangerous.
It's fancy.
Has
too.
tequila hit it yet?
Nope, but I've already made plans.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.